Why are you looting this room when you could be looting this room, or even this room? Hello everyone, I'm Hellfire Mage, and today we're going to go through the top 10 rooms that you should be looting in Vault Hunters. So let's just jump straight into the list with number 10. Coming in at number 10 on the list is the Puzzle Room. The Puzzle Room is a giant cube full of chests that will contain either normal chest loot or these special puzzle cubes. If you go to the floating island in the middle of the room, you'll see symbols on the floor matching the puzzle cubes. If you have all of the puzzle cubes, you can place them all in the correct places, press the button, and 25 gilded chests will appear, which is amazing. But you might be thinking, hell, that's 25 gilded chests. Why is it number 10 on the list? That's because you are not guaranteed these cubes in these chests. You could loot every chest in this room and it will take you a long while and you're still not guaranteed to get all of the puzzle cubes you need. When you do, it's great, but it's very inconsistent and it's very time consuming. So coming in at number 9 is the Mineshaft room. Now this is not to be confused with the abandoned Mineshaft, which is basically this room but with no ores and a bunch of cobwebs. So when you get a Mineshaft room, your only priority is to get as many of these vault ores as physically possible. There are so many vault ores in this room that it is just incredible. It is, however, extremely rare to get this room. Make sure you do check inside the minecarts because there's an absolute ton of really good ores that can spawn inside the minecarts. And once you've cleared this top floor, make sure you go to one of these elevators and dig down to the next floor. It is super easy to get lost in here, so just make sure you know where you are because otherwise you're going to waste a bunch of time trying to find your way out. Overall, this room is amazing. Unfortunately, you can't get any gilded chests in here, so that's why it is number 9. So before we go into the next room, here's a quick reminder to just subscribe if you are enjoying the video. I do release a video every Friday, so you know what to do if you don't want to miss anything. So coming in at number 8 is one of my personal favourite rooms, the Dragon Room. Now this dragon is super cool, whoever designed this is amazing, but it's also amazingly good for loot. If we have a look around, there's a bunch of normal chests, there's a bunch of gilded chests, there's some spawners you can break to get the cage dust. It's just really good. However, there's a few quite hidden things in this room. First one is underneath the dragon. If we start breaking the blocks under the dragon, you can see there are an absolute ton of gilded chests. But that's not where the secrets end. Not even close. When we go back up to the top of the room, there's these little cages with a ton of chests and spawners in. You can vein mine these chests to get an absolute ton of loot, and vein mine the spawners if you need the cage dust. In the top corners of the room as well, there's more gilded chests, and you'll also see these little enclosures dotted around near the ground floor. Those can also be jam-packed full of loot, so you are getting so many chests here. The main thing holding this room back is how vertical it is. It's a really long way to go from the dragon all the way up to the top to get those chests, and then each of the corners is quite a long way away to get that extra few bits of loot. It's going to take you quite a long while if you do actually want to fully loot this room, and if you've not got vein miner, don't even bother going under the dragon. There's really no point, it's going to take you forever. Now this next room is very similar to the dragon room in how it works, and that is the birdcage room. I have put it at number 7 because it is slightly easier to loot than the dragon, but it still runs into pretty much the same problems that the dragon room did. You still got your absolute tons of chests all over the place, but in addition to those, you do also have some amazing ores, and that's really what puts this on the next level, and you don't have to deal with all the sand, which is always a good thing. There are a couple of secrets in this room. First one is this staircase, which doesn't really have any function other than if you don't take dash, and who wouldn't take dash. The second secret is behind this waterfall. There's going to be another secret cage, and that's either going to be full of mob spawners or going to be full of chests. The final secret is if you do break open Benny the bird, you'll find that he's swallowed a bunch of ores, and you can get some really good ores in here as well. There's also a cake on top of the cage if you want to get that as well. Other than that though, you pretty much approach it the same way that you do the dragon room, so I won't cover it in much more detail. What I will say though, it is a fantastic room to loot. It gives you an absolute ton of things that you'll need. You just need to be a little bit careful because the mobs can be a little bit problematic. Coming in at number 6, we have the X marks the spot room. Now this room is a little bit different to most of your others because you don't know what you're going to get until you get in here. So go to the middle of the X, dig all the way down, and then really hope that it's not going to be a terrible room. There's 3 possible outcomes. You can get the gilded room, you can get a room full of ores, or you can have the room full of mobs. If you get the mobs room, just run as fast as you can back up where you came from because it's not going to end well for you. If on the other hand you get the gilded room or you get the ore room, you want to be spending a really long amount of time in here collecting as much of the loot as you possibly can. It is a case that while they are probably the best treasure rooms in the game, they are a little bit risky because you do have that 1 in 3 chance of rolling on mobs and just wasting a bunch of your time. Once you finish looting the lower area, it's worth coming back up so that you can go to this ledge. Sometimes there's god altars, sometimes there's chests, sometimes there's passageways to treasure rooms. It's worth just double checking up there in case you've missed anything. But that's the X marks the spot room. Really, really good room. I'd recommend looting it as much as you possibly can, but just don't get yourself killed down there. And make sure you don't run out of time because you are going to need a few minutes to be able to loot the room. So coming in at number 5, you can probably guess what it is from the carpet. It's the end room. Now this room is one of my favourites in game because it has so much hidden treasure. Starting with the ores hidden inside the trees, the chests hidden inside these cages, the chests hidden inside these little cupboard things, and that's without mentioning the fact that the ceiling is a secret compartment full of ores and compressed blocks. It's insane and I absolutely love this room. Once you finish looting this geode type thing, you can just drop all the way down and land on a cake, and then we're into the main area, which there's a bunch more hidden treasure. You've got more cages full of chests, you've got more of these hidden cupboards, but the best part are these giant sacks of ore. I could have phrased that better. But either way, they're jam-packed full of ores and you can go around, collect all of these. This one has 2 unique ores in one of these pods, and this happens all the time. And then inside all of these waterfalls, there's also a bunch of other ores, and you can get ancient debris, unique ores, all of this kind of stuff. It's really, really good, and there's so many ores, compressed blocks, all sorts of loot, and you can pretty much avoid most of the mobs in here as well, because you can just jump between all of the different loot sources. Fantastic, 100% recommend it. If you've only got a few seconds, just go to the top. That's the best place to get as much loot as quickly as you can. If you've got some time, explore it, get all of the loot that you possibly can. So just missing out on the top 3 is one of my viewers' favourites, the dig site room. Now the biggest problem with the dig site room is the sand, and I think all of the archaeologists will agree with me on that. But once you get rid of all the sand, you get this. This is very similar to the dragon room, but on a much, much bigger scale. This is huge, and there are so many chests here. Your main limiting factor is how do you get rid of the sand. But if you've got danks and magnets, rocket arrows, other ways of getting rid of the sand, then you are really in for a lot of loot when you find this. Now there are a lot of spawners in here. I managed to remove 19, I think it was, when I was clearing this out. You're going to have to deal with a lot of mobs as well. But if you're pretty tanky, you should be okay. An absolutely fantastic room. You can do this one room and that's basically your vault run as success already. The only thing keeping it out of the top 3 is just the ridiculous amount of sand and the amount of time it takes you to dig it out. If you've got an effective way to do that though, this could easily be the best room in the game for you. Alright, you all knew it was going to be on here, but the village room is number 3 on the list. So there's a few reasons why this room is so good. If you go into the houses, you can find yourself some compressed blocks. Upstairs in some of the houses there are gilded chests, and there's just normal chests scattered around as well. If you do find this fire pit outside, then there's guaranteed spawns of compressed blocks here as well. The real magic though is below every village there is a stronghold. Now some of them are pretty basic. You can just run around, loot all of the gilded chests. There are a bunch of spawns of gilded chests. If you are lucky though, you can also find a portal room. And if you've got one Eye of Ender, you can put it in and spawn 12 gilded chests. Now what you can do is vein mine them and apparently blow yourself up. Let's see if we can find one that doesn't blow up. So what you can do is you can vein mine them, all of the items will fall on the floor, you can quickly gather them up, and there is a chance that you can get multiple portal rooms in each stronghold. I've seen multiple strongholds with 2, and I've seen one stronghold that had 3 portal rooms in one village. So that was just a ridiculous amount of loot, 36 gilded chests plus the bunch that were all in just scattered around the stronghold, and it's the consistency that puts this above a lot of the other ones because you're always guaranteed some good loot. Honestly, one of the best rooms in the entire game. There's 2 rooms left. Which do you think came second? It's the city room. Now there's loot hidden in a bunch of places in this room. You've got the helicopter, you've got the blimp, and you've got the plane. Now these have a couple of chests, but they're really not worth going to unless you can just dash or mega jump up there. Inside the buildings though, there are other chests, including gilded chests and compressed blocks that you can just go in, grab. They're pretty good. But they're not the best place to find loot in this room. Your best place is in the sewers. I think I'm noticing a pattern here. Now the sewers are fantastic because they're full of water, which massively slows down mobs so they're not going to attack you. But in a bunch of these little alcove things, there are gilded chests, and you can get upwards of 20 gilded chests per sewers. Sometimes it's even more than that. So it's worth going around, looting all of these chests that you can. If you are above level 25, just be a bit careful because some of them can explode. And to make looting a little bit easier for you, either break the chests when you've done them, or put a block outside of each alcove once you've looted it so that you can see at a quick glance whether you've already finished it. This is a really fast room to loot. You just run in, drop down into the sewers, grab your gilded chests, and then get out of there. You can spend a little bit longer to get those extra bits of loot if you want, but that's not the optimal way of doing it. You might as well be looting another room. Who knows, you might get another city room. So that is number 2 on the list. I'm going to give you a few seconds now to go down in the comment and guess what you think number 1's going to be. It's the workshop room. Congratulations if you got it. This room is amazing. It is by far the most rewarding room, especially because it has a bunch of the modded items that are going to really help you out later on. Things like create cogwheels, void fluid, surprise TNT explosions. Not to mention a ridiculous amount of gilded chests, but the real big thing in this room more than anything else is this section in the middle here. If you drop down, you'll find 5 buttons and a sign. Now you want to press the button above the sign and make sure that you can see 3 of the lights. It'll then do a very simple Simon Says game with you. If you hear the noise and you can't see the light, it's the one behind you that you can't see, and 25 gilded chests will appear below you. And just a reminder, that's the same amount that you get from the puzzle room, but you don't need any of the puzzle blocks. You just need to come down and press some buttons. It is incredible. And if that wasn't enough for you, the walls of this chamber are made of 2 different types of steel that you need for immersive engineering and mechanism, and they are very hard to get normally. Just break down the walls, take all of it. It's really going to help you out, and this amount will set you up for quite a while. But that is the workshop room and the end of my top 10 list. If you learned something, give the video a like, and if you did enjoy the content, make sure to subscribe down below. Thanks very much for watching everyone. I'll see you next time.